All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Well, I got a burr under my saddle.
We talk, you listen.
Somebody that's going to take an innocent life is not mentally insane.
You know them.
Time to nut up or shut up.
You love to hate them.
It's the Denton and Sasquatch Show.
Can I bring my AR-15 next time?
Sure.
Yes.
This place is half talk show, half weird daycare. I love it.
You can't handle the truth.
Hello and welcome once again to the Denton and Sasquatch Show, coming to you from both California and Alabama. I'm in California. My name is Sasquatch. He's in Alabama. His name is Denton. And here we go.
Here we go. And just to let everybody know, Sasquatch is extremely sick, and I am roasted from a very hot, sunny day. So I hope we do very well.
I'm not extremely sick. I was sick over the weekend.
You sound like crap.
Well, thank you. Yeah, now I'm just kind of tired.
Well, hang in there. I'm trying to rehydrate as we're doing this. And I want to give a shout out, obviously, to prepperformance.net, where if you go there, a lot of our ideas for the show is there. And also, we kind of comment there a lot, whether people like it or not. And also, if you want to contact us, you can go to dentonandsasshow@gmail.com and tell us what you think of us. We don't care if you don't like us. We'll read it and chuckle. Also, I would like to suggest to the folks who are living in the southeast Alabama area to go to Farm Systems store in Ozark, Alabama, where one of our listeners works there. He works behind the counter at the gun area there. I think I've mentioned him before. He is a retired CH-47 pilot who didn't want to fly anymore, but he loves guns. He has more information and more knowledge about guns than you could ever imagine. He'll talk to you until you can't take any more information, but beware, he's a very good salesman. He's going to sell you stuff that you didn't even know you wanted. And the stuff behind the counter has all kinds of weapons that are the 30 clip magazine, whatever it is that the Democrats worry about. And so you'll love it there. And he will cut you a good deal. Now that's been said, let's get to the stories we have for you.
Well, I got a little bit of breaking news here, possibly. Real quick, this is from AmericanThinker.com. Excuse me. On Monday, September 16th, Joe Gilbert will preview his new documentary, The Trayvon Hoax, in the 500-seat ballroom on the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. The screening begins at 1 p.m. Admission is free, and Gilbert is encouraging all interested parties to come see for themselves what could be a game changer in the way the media report racially charged news. Gilbert's findings are that significant. It talks about how the media has portrayed a bunch of this stuff, and it goes on to say Gilbert has done that and more in the course of his relentless research into the shooting and subsequent trial. I can say without risk of overstatement that he has unearthed a legal fraud that the likes of which I know no parallel. Not only has Gilbert discovered it, but he's also proved it 6 ways from Sunday, including DNA and handwriting analysis. So, I mean, this guy could show something interesting about the Trayvon Martin case, but who knows? But in case anybody's interested in that, there you go. Coming soon.
Pardon me. We're dying. Both of us are dying. Hopefully it's going to be some very enlightening stuff. And it's kind of interesting because that ties in very well with this article I found. And all my stuff, until I tell you different, is from Breitbart. Whoopi Goldberg says, after Trump's Bahamas comment, how can you not see he's racist? Racist. Okay, now I'm going to get to okay, here we go. This is what Trump says that is obviously, blatantly racist. Okay, are you ready to riot in the streets?
Yes.
Me too. I have my pitchforks and my torches, and I'm ready. This is what Trump said. I don't want to allow people that weren't supposed to be in the Bahamas to come into the United States, including some very bad people and some very bad gang members and some very, very bad drug dealers. We're going to be very, very strong.
He likes being That is it.
Go ahead.
He has lost my vote, that racist man.
I'm voting for Francis O'Rourke now. Now, you heard all those racist things. He talked about blacks. He talked about Latinos. He talked about everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should be up in arms. Well, Joy Behar said, he's so despicable. He makes my head and my hair stand up. Her head and her hair stands up. Another co-host named Sonny Hostin said, it's just cruel. It's inhumane. He lacks humanity. Then Behar said, if they had a hurricane in Norway and they were all coming here, I think he would be fine with that.
Wait a second.
Then Whoopi said,
wait a second.
Okay.
You are tricking me into listening to The View right now.
Yeah.
Now that is evil right there, what you're doing.
Well, I've been called worse. But Whoopi then said, how do you not look at this man and say this is a racial problem? Okay, just to make sure everybody understands, Trump says he wants to make sure that people who weren't supposed to be in Bahamas don't come here.
That's
gang members.
That's the funniest part of this is they didn't listen to the quote. They just jumped straight to, oh, he's a racist because he's talking about the people of Bahamas. When, in fact, he was not talking about the people of the Bahamas. He was talking about people that didn't belong in the Bahamas being in the Bahamas.
You ever been to the Bahamas? You're West Coast. You've probably never been to the Bahamas. I've been in the Bahamas a couple of times. Let me tell you something. Those people are the sweetest people. They're very nice. You'd love it if you went there. You would have such a great time. Well, before the hurricane, you wouldn't believe what kind of a good time you'd have.
Well, I hope I get to go someday.
Well, it'll be a long time now. But when this happened, I was thinking, bring them over here. Bring the Bahamians over here. Get them off of that which does not exist anymore. They're great people. And Trump doesn't have a problem with that. He just wants to make sure that drug dealers, gang members don't come here. And that's racist.
Well, not to go off on a tangent here, but my problem with bringing those people over here is they've done that in the past for other island nations or countries or whatever, where there'll be some huge thing that wipes everything out. So they bring everybody over here. Oh, well, we're gonna bring them here till we get it fixed up. Then they get it fixed up and they never send them back.
Well, you know what? The Bahamians will want to go back. They love their islands.
Well, that's good.
They are Bahamians, and they're very proud of being that. And so once everything's back to normal, getting back to normal, they will want to get back.
Well, the liberals won't let them go back if they think they'll vote for them.
I'm not so sure the Bahamians will vote for the liberals. I'm not, because they are capitalist type people. I mean, you go over there, and if you go to the tourist areas, you have a great time and everything, and that's fine. But do like I did. You grab a taxi and you go to the places where it's not tourist attraction type things. They are so capitalistic. They're going to be setting up food stands. When I say food stands, I'm not talking about stands. I'm talking about just a couple of burners and boilers. And they'll sell you Johnny cakes. They'll sell you conch fritters and everything right there on the street. As a matter of fact, bring them here. You'll step out of your house, walk down the street, and you'll be able to buy a couple of conch fritters.
Well, great. I've been wanting to lose a few pounds.
They're great. Let me tell you something.
Well, when I used to go down to Mexico all the time before it was, a death trap, and they got the people selling the bacon wrap hot dogs on the street and selling tacos on the street, and that stuff was great. I mean, great drunk food. Delicious. You're walking down the street and you can just buy a couple of those things. But now that I'm a little bit older, I don't think I would risk it.
Well, yeah, I did when I was there, and I didn't get sick, and I enjoyed every bite of it. It was great. So, and the ones who don't want to go back, they're going to be the ones that you're going to be buying conch fritters on the side of the street. It's a win-win proposition.
All right, we'll go with that.
My gosh. Okay, look here. Hold on, let me click that one off so my computer is less mussy. You remember when I opened up and I was telling people go see James at Farm Systems?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Don't fall asleep on me.
Try not to.
Stay with me. You know that Walmart and Kroger, and it turns out Walgreens and another place called Meijer, Meijer. I hope I'm saying that right. If not, I don't give a shit. It's another food store or department store or whatever. We don't have them here. Do you have them there?
No, but you can add Aldi's to that because I just read a thing about Aldi's doing the same thing.
Oh, great. They're all communists. Their whatever they call it, the Twitter thing, they said, the safety of our customers and our team members is our top priority. Bull crap.
Oh, so they want people to open carry in their stores.
No. What they want is to be, what do you call that, when you're projecting what you, I always forget that little phrase. They're trying to make everybody think that they're woke. Anyway, it is our top priority. No, profit is our top priority. Never mind that. So we respectfully request that our customers do not open carry firearms at Meijer. We've made this decision because open carry can create an environment that makes our customers and team members, oh, good gosh, they feel unsafe.
It can also create an environment where bad guys go, well, I might not want to go in that place because a lot of people sure do seem to have guns on their hips.
Man, so far I've seen 40 people with guns on their hips. I really don't think I want to commit a crime in here.
Yeah, instead they should go down to the gun-free zone at the school and rob kids for their milk money.
So, and that's why I mentioned Farm Systems and James, their gun counter. Go to your local place. You don't have to go to those big places. Go to a place where your local gun shop or a place where they want you there. I mean, I realize that you go to Walmart. You're not going to Farm Systems to grab a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread. But I'm sure there's a place. We have a couple, 3 places in my town. It's not the big places that will not care if you're carrying. If Walmart doesn't want you to carry, that's fine. And if you don't, or open carry, and if you want to go to Walmart, that's fine too. We're not going to tell you that you have to boycott anything. I'm just saying that there's other places that you can go if you open carry. Personally, I don't open carry because it's none of anybody's business that I've got a gun.
Well, I cannot open carry in California, so that problem pretty much solves itself. Yeah. But when I heard about what Walmart was doing, plus now with the whole we're not going to sell ammo for anything except hunting rifles or whatever, I decided I'm done with Walmart. Got rid of my Sam's Club card, too. I will no longer be shopping there. I'll go find somebody that actually supports the Second Amendment.
Well, I'm with you there. I really am. I like that. But just know that Meijer is gone stupid as well as Walmart, Kroger. And so you read something. Do you have it pulled up? What other companies?
Oh, no, I was just reading earlier. Aldi's.
What in the world is an Aldi's?
Really? You guys don't have Aldi's? I figured that's where it came from. It's just one of those. It's a new type of It's new here in California. It's grocery type store.
No, never heard of it.
No,
it may be here, but it doesn't mean in Southeast Alabama it's here. So now this is going to hurt a lot of folks' feelings in the South. Now that you mentioned the South, NASCAR shifts on guns, rejects ads showing semi-automatic rifle.
This is interesting. Because I know, personally I'm not, but I know a lot of people are rabid for the NASCAR. And they're also rabid for the Second Amendment. So now you kind of got to make a choice. So I'm kind of curious to see which way this goes. If people are actually as serious as they say they are, or do they just all blowing smoke all the time saying, oh yeah, I'd boycott them if they did. Oh, my NASCAR did? Well, no, I can't do that.
Well, I'll be willing to bet you that most people are blowing smoke.
I'm guessing that too.
Because, I mean, really, think about it. Restrictor plates, I was almost gone then. Safety walls, almost gone. Hans devices, in case if you don't follow Walmart, if you don't follow NASCAR, a Hans device after Dale Earnhardt died, he died of a broken neck. A Hans device is something they put on around the neck that will keep them from getting a broken neck. I was good with that. That's fine. That's good safety equipment. Great. But when I can't remember which driver it was, he got flagged. I think it was black flagged for aggressive driving.
I thought that was the whole point of NASCAR.
Well, as the awesome Dale Jr. or Dale, not Jr. Screw that. Dale Earnhardt said, "If you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing." Okay, but that particular driver was driving aggressively. He got black flagged. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with this mess. This is stupid. You can't drive. You can't race. You can't do what you should do to win. I ain't watching this crap anymore.
You know what?
Now
I said
what?
that. I said that exact same thing to Hot Nursey the other night. If you're not
okay,
if you're not rubbing them, you're not racing.
Well, the NRA fired back and they said NASCAR is taking a gradual shift on guns and will no longer allow partners to advertise commonly owned guns. This pathetic decision will cause their current customers to take a gradual shift on NASCAR and will alienate potential customers. Good luck. Well, I've already gotten tired of NASCAR because they've gone mamsy-pamsy, but what was it? Was it K-VAR? I don't know who that is. I've never bought any of their weapons, but K-VAR wanted to advertise on NASCAR, and a few weeks after they said, look, we want to buy a spot, NASCAR finally came back and said, nope. So, NASCAR should go the same way with Dick's Sporting Goods for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you mentioned the NRA. Did you read the story about the NRA is suing San Francisco for labeling them a terrorist organization?
Yeah, I saw the headline, but I didn't read it.
Oh, yeah, and neither did I, but I'm glad they're fighting back. Good for them.
Yeah. City.
Hey,
label somebody a terrorist organization.
Do me a favor and say all that again because you just roboted.
How does a city label anything or anybody a terrorist organization?
That's a good question.
Because I thought it was the FBI that did that.
Well, they're so progressive up there in San Francisco that they decided they were just going to take the bull by the horns and do it themselves. Well, you know what? Those little mamsy-pamsy, whatever they are, I'm not going to label them with Mr. or Mrs. or whatever. It's none of my business. I know I live in Alabama, and they can't harm me out here from there. But I don't want to hurt their feelings because they live on their feelings. But they can't label anybody or anything a terrorist or terrorist organization because it's a city. They don't do it. That's what the FBI is for. Well, hopefully this little lawsuit teaches them a fine lesson. Well, I bet it's going to fail. Probably, because they'll get some liberal judge in San Francisco to oversee the trial. Well, that, and there's something else to consider. You take, you decide to take somebody to court. Okay, I'm talking constitutional here, and I know that people yawn when I mention constitutional laws of nature, nature's God, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to take these people to civil court, and we're going to do this in a nutshell. Okay, how have you been harmed? Well, he called me a terrorist. Okay, but what's your injury? Well, he called me a terrorist. That was mean. I agree. That wasn't very nice. But what was your injury? Do you see where I'm going with this? Well, I mean, defamation. Maybe. And that's something right there. But, chances are, in today's climate, that's not going to be enough. So they're going to have to say, okay, let's say that, NRA, they say you're a terrorist organization.
well, we disagree with you, they say, and they continue, and then they apprehend somebody or they do something. Once the city of San Francisco does something against a National Rifle Association or to one of their members that is substantial, tangible, whatever, causes loss of money, then there's an injury. So far, there's not an injury, so I don't think that it's going to go very far. But I'm glad that the National Rifle Association is standing up. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, well, let's hope it does something. But you're right, it may not.
But you know what? There's other people out there that are morons. As a matter of fact, University of California, Los Angeles, stone's throw away from you, there is a professor there named Douglas Kellner. First and Second Amendments should change as society evolves. Make some sense out of that crap, would you? I'm going to read a little bit more. UCLA professor Douglas Kellner argued in a recent interview for the university's website that the First and Second Amendments are not absolute. He says they're not absolute and should be changed as society continues growing and evolving. The professor also blames President Trump for the school shootings.
All right, so this is another one of those. It's a living, breathing document, idiots, right?
Well, just going by what he said, I would agree with that. What else could it be? He says, I was researching media spectacle at the time. I started reading about the shooting and thinking about Columbine and other school shootings, and the key idea just hit me. It's been the same idea for every one of these shootings, that we have an outdated, out of control gun culture and a crisis of masculinities. There, he's aiming at the men, of course. These young men who were in crisis resolved it through these shootings, and it became a media spectacle. Okay, so he's saying there's two things he's saying there. One, guns bad. Two, men bad. That's basically what that's what this man's saying. What this human being is saying is guns bad, men's bad.
Yep.
They're masculine and they had a gun. And there you go. So I'm sure that because society's evolved, we've got to do something to the men too.
Well, I mean, if he truly feels that way, I believe he has the right to feel that way. And if so, then don't buy a gun and hand your testicles over because you don't need them anymore.
Give them a knife, give them a rusty dull knife. Yeah. So, and this is where we're at. This is where we're at, that a professor at a university is saying guns bad and masculinity bad. Would John Wayne go and shoot up a school? No. Would I do it? Would you do it? No. So where is the problem? It's not with masculinity. Masculinity goes to war. Masculinity opens doors for women. Masculinity stands for the right things. And they don't bow to stupidity. And guns, how are things changed with guns as society evolves? It still has a trigger, a barrel. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's changed about the gun.
Oh,
society's changed. What?
They're weapons of war.
Yeah, because when I was in the Army, we had all kinds of semi-automatic weapons. Yeah, that doesn't even make sense. Let me think. No, we had weapons that would go semi-automatic and group therapy, as I call it, fully automatic. And then we had weapons that were nothing more than fully automatic. I mean, if you want to get right down to it, we had artillery pieces that were semi-automatic. You had to load the next round and charge and shut it and pull the lanyard and everything. But no, there were no semi-automatic shoulder-fired weapons on the battlefield. So these people who think this stuff are morons. They're idiots. And they assume that you're morons and idiots, and you need to quit listening to these people and stand for the Second Amendment. And by the way, the First Amendment, again, as society evolves, what is he saying? What does he mean? You know, because society evolves, now that we've allowed the liberals to have such a voice and so much control, that the conservatives, the constitutionalists, should be shut up?
Well, I mean, he's basically saying, I don't like the Second Amendment and First Amendment the way they are right now, so we should change them to the way I like them. And then once we do that, then they absolutely cannot be changed anymore. But until it's the way I like it, then yeah, they can be changed.
Well, until they get around to doing a constitutional convention to change this stuff, and enough states go along with it, he can shut up. But what it boils down to, what he's wanting to do, I mean, we allowed the commies, the liberals, the atheists, whatever you want to call them, you know what their characteristics are. We've allowed them to tell us, well, we just want to have a conversation. Just let us have a conversation. And so we said, okay, because we're morons too, we got lazy. We said, okay, talk about it. And then they talked about it, and the next thing you know, they're the ones talking the loudest. And the next thing you know, they're in control of everything from media to the education to now vast pieces of the government. And now that they're in control, they're saying, you need to shut up and sit down. And by the way, give us your guns. And that brings us to Robert Francis O'Rourke, who wants you to call him Beto O'Rourke. Robert Francis O'Rourke.
I would call him Beto if I knew what a Beto was.
Well, that's Hispanic for Robert. That's a nickname.
I have been around Hispanic people almost my entire life, and I've never, ever once heard any one of them called Beto.
Well, his dad, sorry, I'm trying to get the vape and talk. His dad nicknamed him Beto because his name is Robert, because his dad was so much part of the Hispanic community.
Now, I know Hispanic people named Robert, which their actual name is Roberto, so the nickname for them is usually Berto.
Well, you know what? They're not Hispanic enough. If they were, they would know it should be Beto. If you don't believe me, ask Robert Francis O'Rourke.
I mean, if you think about it, what he has done is cultural appropriation. He's taken what they call themselves, Berto, usually for Roberto, and changed it to the white saying of Beto.
It's funny you say that. I said that at work the other day. This guy is culturally appropriating a nickname.
Yeah.
And it disgusts me. Disgusts me. But this cat actually thinks that, he's the one that's saying, we're going to have a mandatory buyback program of your AR-15s, your AK-47s, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. Okay. What the hell is a mandatory buyback? Okay, if you want to have a buyback program, fine. I'm not selling you crap. But, well, if I had crap, I'd sell it to you. But my neighbor may want to sell his AR-15 to you, and if he does, it's his AR-15. He can do what he wants. Okay, but if it's mandatory, it's nothing more than a confiscation.
Well, yeah,
confiscation.
That is the government taking your property, which is unconstitutional.
Right, and it's unconstitutional in the Second Amendment. You can't say eminent domain, no, because I have the right to keep and bear arms to make sure the government can't take my guns. Okay, but this idiot actually thinks that if he gets president and he says, okay, we're going to have a mandatory buyback program, I'm outlawing AR-15s and AK-47s, but I'm going to let you sell them to us, that law-abiding citizens are going to do this.
No.
No. Beto.
Well, actually, maybe some, like you said, some might do it because it's their AR-15. If they want to sell it back, they can. But most won't. But the people that definitely won't sell them back, criminals.
Oh, no, we'll all be criminals at that point.
Well, that's true.
Okay, but I guarantee you. I'm not going to guarantee it because I'm just me, and you're just you.
I'm already a criminal because I'm white.
Well, you got a point there. But I think there's going to be enough of us who are going to say, no, you're not going to get them one way or another. And if you want them, you remember the old belt buckle that says cold dead fingers.
Yeah, I'd be happy to give it back bullets first.
Bullets first, that's right. But you know what? He's not the only moron. It's hard to believe. Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, starts week pushing assault weapons ban. Okay, This cat says the deadliest mass shootings all have one thing in common: assault weapons. It's past time we get these weapons of war off our street. I've banned them before, and I'll ban them again in the White House. Weapons of war. We already covered that. Now, that's not saying that you can't have an automatic weapon. Okay, but people need to understand, since 1985, with the first Brady Bill, became Brady law, you can't go down to your local gun shop and buy a fully automatic weapon, wait your time period, and pay your $200. Okay, you can't buy a brand new one. The only way you can get an automatic weapon is to buy somebody who already owns one. And let me tell you something, you are going to spend thousands of dollars on a weapon that is going to launch thousands of dollars more ammunition downrange. Okay, so you can still buy them legally. It's going to be from a private seller, and you still have to go through the ATF bullcrap. Okay, but when's the last time you've heard of somebody being, or a mass shooting involving an automatic weapon? It doesn't happen. Those things nowadays are locked up in gun safes. Okay, so he is saying that weapons of war are being used to kill people. What he's missing is the Virginia attacker killed 12 innocent people with a .45 caliber handgun. In 2009, the Fort Hood attacker, you remember him, Major whatever his name is, killed 13 people with a handgun. And in April of 2007, the Virginia Tech attacker killed 32 people using 2 handguns. Add that number up, and it's more than I count, because I was an MP when I was in the Army. Okay, but not every, he's wrong, absolutely wrong, as usual, because he's sleeping with Joe.
Well, yeah, okay, the one thing in common with all of these people talking about mass shootings is they're all wrong. And it doesn't matter that they're all wrong. They're wrong. They know they're wrong, but they know if they put it out there and say it enough times, people are going to believe it.
That's funny you said that. You know what? You remember when I was having a problem trying to remember that little phrase? That phrase is virtue signaling.
Yes.
Virtue signaling. It's not going to change a damn thing. Evil people are out there. Mentally unstable people are out there. Whatever these people do, I'm talking about politicians and all these idiots that's in charge, do will not change a damn thing. But they are virtue signaling. Oh, and by the way, Robert Francis O'Rourke has no chance of getting into the presidency, so don't worry about him. I don't think that Joe Biden has a chance. Do you?
The way things are going for Joe these days, maybe not.
Even I'm pretty sure it's going to be Elizabeth Warren, but I don't think Elizabeth Warren is going. Pocahontas really doesn't have a chance against Donald Trump.
No, he'll chew her up and spit her out.
Yeah, so really it's going to be Donald Trump. But what everybody needs to do is send emails to Donald Trump, making sure that he understands that we stand with the Second Amendment and the First Amendment. As a matter of fact, all the Bill of Rights, and we demand that he protects those rights. That's what he needs to do. And he's surrounded by people that are politicians at heart. Send emails making sure that he understands that his job is to protect our rights. That includes the Second Amendment. Now, switching to something else real quick here. This is in your area. Chula Vista Church vandalized after opposing controversial drag queen story time. This is from 10news.com, which is in Chula Vista, California, KGTV. Chula Vista police are investigating a hate crime after a local church was vandalized overnight, and this is dated 8 September. The pastor believes that they were targeted because of their strong opposition to a controversial city-run children's event called Drag Queen Storytime. Why in the hell would you have a event called Drag Queen Storytime? Okay, so I remember when I was a kid. When I was a kid, my mother dropped me off at the local library, and there'll be somebody there reading stories and whatnot. And I'm just wanting to get my own books, but I'm supposed to sit there and listen to somebody else read me a story. All right. But now, in 2000, this is let's say 1968. Okay, this is how it was, and they read Tom Sawyer and that kind of stuff. All right. Now you have somebody that's a man dressed weirdly. It's not like he's just in a dress, but he's got all this crazy crap on his face and everything. Drag queen story time. My God, my grandfather, I'm so glad he's dead. Okay, I can't believe, I can't imagine my grandfather reading this kind of crap. He would explode in his chair right now, right there. Holy music filled the halls of South Bay Pentecostal Church in Chula Vista, but the walls outside sang a different tune. Sure enough, at every corner there were phrases, hateful words, and graffiti on the walls of the church, and satanic symbols. Okay.
Why do I get the feeling this is another one of those? Some drag queen did the graffiti and then said, hey, look, they graffitied and said bad things about us.
Could be. I don't know. But this pastor has been speaking out against the drag queen crap. Okay. And so his church gets attacked. Now here, let me pull down. This is what kills me. His name is, you probably speak it better than I do. Huizar. He's there?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay, that's the pastor there. He says, I'm all about diversity. I'm all about inclusiveness. When you do something like a drag queen story hour, you're excluding a segment of the populace who are not in favor of this because of what we experience today, or scared to speak out. Say what? Okay, look. The Bible is very clear, and the Bible is what this country is based on. Men don't look effeminate. You don't make yourself effeminate. A drag queen goes well beyond that. Okay, that is just wrong. Okay, I'm not saying that you beat them or anything like that, but don't pretend like, oh, I include those people. They're just fine. No, they have a mental disorder or a spiritual disorder. Don't pretend like they're just like you. Don't pretend like they're on the same level. Obviously, they're not. There's something wrong with them. So, and then he speaks out against this, and guess what? The church gets graffitied. Where is the inclusion? He's saying he's inclusive, but where's the left's inclusion?
Wait a second. I'm not understanding this story right. So, the church had a drag queen story time.
No, the church didn't have that.
Okay, well, where did that happen at?
That was in a library. There's a public place.
Oh, okay. So he spoke out against it, and then his church got nailed.
Exactly.
Okay, I thought he was behind the whole drag queen thing, and that I don't know. I got confused. Okay, now I understand.
No, yeah, I understand. That's probably my reading and everything. Like I said, I'm just wore out. But no, the city, Chula Vista, is sponsoring this drag queen crap, trying to influence kids. Actually warp and pervert kids. He spoke out against that, and then his church got graffitied.
Well,
okay.
I mean, it's just like I was saying about the professor that doesn't like the First Amendment right now. Well, because it's not the way he likes it. So,
Yeah.
It's okay for them to exclude people and to tamp down somebody's actual First Amendment, but then I don't even know where I'm going with this. You know what I mean?
Oh, I absolutely know what you mean. Yeah, and then he calls himself. He's all about diversity. Really? You're a pastor. Is God all about diversity? God's all about his creation, but he also wants his creation to do as he wants them to do. You can say you like blue over red and everything. That doesn't mean that I want to be a drag queen. No, that's an abomination. Okay, and so our country, and including our cities, shouldn't be, sponsoring this. And then he turns around and says, "I'm all about that." Wait, you're all about inclusiveness, but you're speaking out against this, and then the ones that you want to include are attacking you, just to show you how inclusive the left is. This whole story is so convoluted and so insane Everybody. The only ones that are no. The left is not the only ones that are not hypocrites, because they are hypocrites. They demand that we were inclusive, just like them, and now they're showing their true colors. They're not inclusive. If you're not lockstep with the left, they're going to attack you.
Speaking of hypocrites, breaking news: another mass shooting, 7 killed, 22 wounded. You heard it here first on the Denton and Sasquatch show. Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. This is just what's been happening in Chicago for the past 3 days. And, you don't hear about this from the politicians because they don't care if people in Chicago, especially black people, kill each other. But they do care when they're trying to confiscate our guns.
And it's funny you say that because, they call Trump a racist and everything, but everybody ignores, and I'm talking about the media, and I'm talking about, Trump has mentioned it, but Obama never mentioned it.
Well, of course not.
That Chicago, Detroit, blacks are being slaughtered every night. Little kids being killed while in their own homes as stray bullets go through the walls. And they're worried about white people, which is not always white people. It's already been proven. That's bullcrap. And they say always white people that can do mass shootings. Bullcrap. All they want to do is focus on those those things that the liberal media can run with. But every weekend, people are killed in Chicago and Detroit. Is it the gun's fault? I have my guns locked up. Where are yours? I have a couple that are in the bedroom that are not locked up nowadays, but they never leave the house. I make sure of that because I lock the doors. They don't have thumbs. They can't unlock my doors.
Well, we're running a little long, so can I?
No, I've got one more thing.
Oh, Jesus.
No, I'm Brian. Okay, I'm not Jesus. Real quick, another thing that you have to worry about in California now, you know about typhus. Uh-huh. Did you know that there's an very historical disease that's kicking up in your area?
It doesn't surprise me.
Leprosy.
Well, that's good. I've been meaning to get rid of an arm or two.
Yeah, well, it's coming from Central and South America, coming up to Southern California. I'm just telling you, this is one of those public service announcements. So, Sass, we all love you. Stay away from people with leprosy.
Well, we've already got typhus here, so leprosy might as well join the party too.
No doubt. Now carry on.
No, I wanted to wrap this whole thing up. I got these stories here that I really don't want to focus on the stories so much, but they'll play into what I'm talking about here. And this goes along with all the stuff Denton was talking about as well. The first one is Los Angeles Times. The Los Angeles Times released an opinion piece on an elderly man who lives in his van and believes there are no other options for him in California. The piece follows a man from the moment he wakes up to where he sleeps at night. He describes how he's unable to shower each day. He goes over the process on how he needs to move his van constantly. It goes on to say, I'm 73. I want to be on the road as long as my health holds out. I would travel more, but if I could stretch that monthly check further, which he's talking about Social Security, and it talks about this guy, and this guy used to be a radio newscaster, worked in Las Vegas, worked in San Diego. Now, let me tell you from experience, radio does not pay that much. One of the reasons I got out of it, because it really does not pay that much. Well, this guy stayed in it for 30-something years, and now he doesn't have a pot to piss in. And he's complaining that he has to live out of his van. Now I'll move on to the second story here. Gavin Newsom, that is our wonderful governor here, signs bill disallowing disruptive students to be suspended. According to the SACB, the governor has signed a new bill that would prohibit schools from suspending disruptive kids in class. This bill was signed into law this week and will go into effect July 1st, 2020. It permanently bans willful defiance suspensions in grades 4 and 5, but also bans these suspensions in grades 6 through 8 for 5 years.
So, suspends them for 5 years?
No, it suspends the action of suspending students for 5 years.
Okay, so for 5 years, the administrations cannot suspend kids?
Well, they cannot suspend them for what is called willful defiance. So if you tell the kid, hey, you need to sit down right now or you're going to get suspended, the kid can go, F you, and you can go, oh, okay then. Because you cannot suspend them for willful defiance.
Okay, so how do you teach class if you have this retard acting a fool in your class?
Well, there you go. But that's not even what I wanted to talk about. It's just two different stories. I mean, we can jump into these next week maybe, or another time if it's still coming up. But I wanted everybody out there in listening land to do sort of an exercise while you're at work. You know, you're doing your work, but you're thinking in the back of your head always. At least I know I am. But just think about this, and this goes for the mass shootings and everything. This guy that didn't talk about, the professor said, no, I was thinking about it, and it came to me. It's the First and Second Amendment. That's the problem, because they need to change over time. Well, that's not it. I think I've narrowed down what the problem is with not only the mass shootings, but just life in general.
Lack of discipline.
Yeah, that's for...
You were in radio.
Yes.
How long were you in radio?
A little over 15 years.
Okay, this guy was in radio twice as long.
Yep.
And now he's living in a van. Mm-hmm. And he's living off of Social Security.
Yes, and complaining that there's no place for him to drive around in his van.
And 15 years later, and I can imagine he loved the job.
Mm-hmm. I loved radio, but it just didn't pay.
You realize that it's not going to work out for you. Mm-hmm. And so you change course. Yes, sort of.
What did you say? Discipline? The words I was going to use are personal responsibility. Now, to me...
Oh, my gosh. You just set us up for the next show.
To me, that is what is missing in America these days. Personal responsibility. Now, they're taking this away from the kids. You know, they can't be suspended, so now there's no personal responsibility for the way they act. This guy who lives in his van and complains that he doesn't have any place to park it because he doesn't make enough money to travel the country like he wants to, he didn't use personal responsibility to set his life up better. He decided, okay, I like doing this radio thing and it's fun, even though I don't make that much money. He didn't think ahead and think, well, there's going to be a time when I'm not working and I'm going to need money. So personal responsibility. The same goes for the guns and the mass shooting. There was a time in this country when if you had, crazy cousin Eddie, you knew that you don't let Eddie have a gun. You just don't, because he'll do something stupid with it. So the entire family would keep an eye on crazy cousin Eddie and say, hey, let's keep him away from the guns. Nowadays, nobody wants personal responsibility for themselves or their families. So nobody wants to watch crazy cousin Eddie. They just want somebody else to do it, or just let him go out and roam and do whatever he wants.
The crazy cousin Eddie, he joined. He grew up to be a creepy Joe Biden.
Well, yeah, but even as crazy cousin Eddie, when he's 32, the rest of the family should still be watching him. And if he starts acting erratic or talking about guns all the time, or you see him actually put his hands on a gun, well, then you need to intervene and either call the police or do that. Personal responsibility would solve all of our problems if everybody would just take care of themselves. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. But nowadays, all the things you're talking about, whether it be Joe Biden putting his hands on little girls or whatever, you just name it. There's a thread on prepperforms.net about libertarian. You're supposed to just embrace all these weird things. Mm-hmm. And if crazy cousin Eddie he's talking about guns and killing people, well, even that doesn't fall in libertarianism or anything else. If crazy Eddie is talking about killing people, yeah, you ought to say something. But here's the thing: it's a stigma. If you speak out, well, then you're a snitch. Or you don't want to prematurely pull the trigger, catch that little thing, on somebody, and the cops come and swat him, and he wasn't going to do anything at all. Yeah, which goes into the red flag thing. Red flag is going to be used against people. Okay, but the ones that ought to be saying something, they're not going to say anything because, well, I don't want to snitch on Eddie because he's just kidding. I mean, we've known him for 30 years. Yeah, he's a little bit off, but he's not that off.
Well, and this is why we really don't need the red flag laws because, as I said earlier, people used to watch their own family. So say Cousin Eddie's acting erratic and you know he's got a gun. Well, you wait till he runs up to the store to grab a pack of smokes or something. You go in his room and you take his gun and you lock it up. And now when Eddie gets home, he can be mad and he can call the cops on you. And they can say, well, it is Eddie's personal responsibility. And then you say to the cops, well, he's acting irresponsible and he's not taking his meds. Well, then the cops are going to go, well, then maybe we shouldn't give his gun back to him. But you don't need school officials, doing red flag laws or your neighbor doing a red flag law. People need to take responsibility for themselves and their families.
Be good family members and be good be good neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, if everybody did that again, like we used to do, I think all of these problems would just go away. I mean, of course, there's always going to be little problems in society, but for the most part, all of this stuff would go away.
Well, you have a good point. We need to get back to being, nuclear families, they used to call them. Nuclear families. Be nuclear families, be neighbors, know your community. You don't need the federal government telling you what to do. The federal government should be the last thing you need to think about. But that being the case, it seems that things have changed, and we're probably, as far as I can tell, and I can't really tell that good, I'm too dehydrated and tired, and you're too sick, but I think that we're doomed.
Well,
as a nation.
That's why I'm going to drink up and take personal responsibility for it.
Same here. Look here. If you like the show, tell us at prepperforums.net. No. Well, yeah, you can go there and tell us that. But if not, if you want to do the email thing, go to dentonandsashshow@gmail.com and let us know what you think. Either way, we're going to get some sleep. So look here. We'll talk to you all next time. In the meantime, take care of yourself. Watch the news. Watch your neighbors. Watch the lunatics. And we'll talk to you later.